98% of Americans are switching between devices in the same day. 65% of consumers face retail inconsistencies between online and in store. 50% of customers use more than 4 touch points when buying. And then probably the punchline, more than half of businesses are struggling with fragmented customer data. It's just a reality that we are having to accept more data sources in and compute more analytics out to enable decisions across that landscape. And the prize to win is pretty large. Aberdeen Group describes it this way, that customers with a strong omnichannel customer engagement retain 89% of their customers, whereas those with weak strategies retain only 33%. So the prize at the end of the rainbow is quite significant, and the opportunities are quite significant. And so we need to reframe how we think through analytics in order to address this landscape. When we think about our histories in traditional analytics, let's call it, they tend to break down in this type of world. A lot of us rely on platform by platform measurement solutions with OEMs or manufacturers or brands relying on individual dealer or agent or retailer systems. Very often these are systems we don't own, and therefore we have limited input to them. And that doesn't work in this world that needs to change and provide not just a dashboard, but insight to, let's say, an LLM model that you're using locally in your enterprise. Static reports don't make sense. They tend to be a scrapbook more than an insight springboard. And they arrive after the decisions are already made. There's a lot of fragmentation also at the scale or the height of the data, what we're seeing at a local level, or maybe you might call it at the edge of your data, can be very different than the signals that a corporate or a centralized view sees. And so the patterns to be recognized are just different and not being consumed properly. What's the net effect? What we're having there is our traditional analytics feel more like a rearview mirror than a steering wheel to move our business forward. And again, the research bears this out. The data that we're looking for isn't present in the decisions we want to make. 77% of organizations report significant data quality issues affecting performance. 67% of organizations, 2/3, don't completely trust their own data. When they say data-driven decision-making is a top goal. And even at the highest levels, 2/3 of CEOs are still defaulting to intuition over data-driven insights. So there's a gulf there of intel and a gap in knowledge. And filling that gap right now seems to be intuition rather than data.